usual, this is a presentation not just of the financials of the first quarter of the year, but also of the activities of the games and any other activities related to it from the period ending of the last report, which was in February, to now. So it's both a financial report and an activity report. As usual, we will take questions over email. The email is investor@funcom.com. Feel free to send your questions there, and we'll do our best to answer the questions at the end. And to start things off, we have the usual disclaimers. This presentation contains forward-looking statements that involve risks and uncertainties. All statements other than the statements of historical facts are forward-looking. So all this is something you should be familiar with. Please acquaint yourself with the technical details of the gaming industry, of investing in a publicly listed company, and any other risks or uncertainties that we continuously refer to and that can be found in further detail in the annual report. So with that, we move on to the beginning. And of course, we are very happy. I'm extremely happy to say that this quarter is Funcom's most profitable quarter ever. It represents a major turnaround compared to where we were a year ago. We were in a precarious situation with a little cash, very negative equity, very little trust in the overall investment community. But we had a plan. We had a plan that we believed in, and a plan that I'm very happy to see that is starting to bear fruit. And it's a plan that I believe, and we believe in Funcom, that will continue to give fruit, that this is not the whole thing. This is just the beginning of an overall major turnaround. So looking at the key figures, we see that the cash position has improved greatly. Equity is strengthened tremendously from -10 million to +10 million. The debt position, which we were at 13.6 million a year ago, plus interest, so in total we were more at around like 15. We were at the end of first quarter at 6.8, and after the first quarter, an additional $3.5 million plus interest were converted. So in practice, 75% of the debt that was there a year ago is not there anymore, which strengthens not just the balance sheet and the equity, but it also strengthens the overall financial position of the company and allows us to have a much stronger outlook on the future. The revenue of the quarter was very strong based on the early access launch of Conan Exiles, and that then contributes to a bottom line that is very profitable, both on all levels, with EBITDA, EBIT, and EAT being quite good. I think the numbers speak for themselves, and it is a very strong quarter. Of course, being a launch quarter of a game, the launch quarters are always better, but still, we are very happy with how it turned out so far. In terms of development of Conan Exiles, the team has been working very hard on getting the game to a good state, on getting the game through this early access phase and into what the players want to see. Early access is a promise to players. It's a promise that the game will get better. And I think the major effort the team has put into patching out more than 25 updates with many fixes, content updates, weapons, addressing key issues that the players felt were there, is a testament to the effort and dedication. In addition, the PR and marketing team have been engaging with the community. It is the first time that we work on an early access game, and we are learning what it means to be in early access and what that commitment to the players, to the community really means. So both on the development side and on the PR and community side, we have been seeing what people expect, adapting to it, and getting better at it. It's no secret that it can be difficult at times with a community of gamers that expect a finished product when we are telling them that it's early access, but that is part of the road ahead. And we are confident that during this process, during this roughly year of early access, we will, by the end of it, have a much stronger, much better game, much more aligned with what players want than if we had not done this early access process and had just gone straight to launch. it cannot be underestimated the value of listening to the players and seeing what it is that they want us to focus on. And we've been doing that through both the forums, but also through surveys where we measure what are the players really wanting, what do they want to see in the game, and what do they do not want. And sometimes it does not match what we thought. So we see those data points and we adapt and we go that way. Another important thing that we launched was an exploit hunter program, and an exploit is a cheat. It's something the players are doing in the game that was not expected. But most importantly, in the game like this, where it's competitive, the players are doing something that ruins someone else's play experience. So we treat this very seriously. We launch an exploit hunter program that rewards players that tell us about these cheats, and that helps us catch the cheats earlier to avoid ruining other people's experience. It's very successful so far, and the community likes it. We like it. Everyone benefits. In terms of Secret World Legends, we announced on the 29th of April that the Secret World is relaunching a Secret World Legends with a free-to-play business model. The relaunch is planned to happen on the 26th of June, and Secret World Legends is currently in closed beta stage. We've been going through several beta stages, and at each beta stage, we try to invite different people to get the new feedback. And we are, again, treating that, trying to talk a lot with them, getting their opinion and seeing what is it that we should focus on or not focus on, what should we tweak or not tweak. An important detail is that the development is on track for the planned launch date. But what we see is that due to the crowded market conditions with the multiple MMO-related releases in May and June on Steam, we have decided to hold back the Steam launch until the 31st of July. This crowded market is the three major competitors that define this crowded market are Black Desert Online, and that has never launched on Steam and is launching now on Steam for the first time, and the new expansion for both Elder Scrolls Online and Final Fantasy XIV. These are all coming in the very short time period, and going head-to-head with them on Steam won't benefit anyone. So we have decided to wait a bit and get it on Steam when we can have maximum impact. The launch through our own channels will go ahead as planned on the 26th of June, and that will allow us to continue to do this launch and get the monetization and the revenue and the players in, but also allows us to then see that all the necessary KPIs will be adjusted, as a free-to-play game needs continuous tweaking to optimize the acquisition cost, ARPU, RPPU, retention rates, etc. In terms of financials, going into a tiny bit more detail, here we highlight again the revenues, EBITDA, EBIT, and the EAT. The main source of revenues was Conan Exiles, as expected. The increase in operating expense is in line with internal forecasts, and I'll talk a bit more about that in a second. And the depreciation and financial items have also improved a bit from 2016. Of course, in terms of liabilities and debt, it has improved a lot, not just a bit. Looking to the revenue and comparing with previous quarters, we see that the revenue is extremely good. The old revenue was just the revenue from the old MMOs. There had been no significant major launches for a few years, and this again shows the potential of the type of projects and with the type of budgets we do, that in just around 2 months of revenue can generate such significant amounts of cash for the company. The other current live games continue to contribute positively to the company's revenues, and it is our hope that they'll continue to do so for a long time, and that all our games have very long tails of revenue. I mean, Anarchy Online has been out since 2001, and it still contributes with a good net profit at the end of the month, at the end of each month. So we hope that all our games can have such a long tail of revenue as Anarchy Online does. Another very good chart to look at is the EBITDA evolution over the last quarters. So we see that we have a very significant increase in EBITDA. Operating expenses have increased compared to previous quarters, but that is natural, as part of the operating expenses include royalties, and the royalties are tied to the amount of revenue you generate, but also to other launch-related costs, extraordinary expenses around the launch that happen, be it with outsourcing of different aspects. It can be localization, it can be audio work or music work. It can be, there are a lot of small things that license fees for software that only need to be paid when the game is about to launch. There are several aspects of game development that the bills and that those expenses only come when the game is about to launch. So it is a natural consequence of a launch that operating cost on that quarter increases. So to summarize, I'll say it again because it's a great line. The first quarter of 2017 is the most profitable quarter ever in Funcom's history. EBIT and EAT from continuing operations improved significantly. The equity increased significantly, cash balance increased significantly, and the liabilities reduced. So all in all, a very, very strong quarter. The way ahead in terms of our two major activities right now being Conan Exiles and Secret World Legends. In terms of Conan Exiles, our development team is focused on maybe 3 main production tracks. The critical bug fixing and small content updates, that track is focused on keeping the players that are playing the game right now happy, keeping them engaged, keeping them in the loop, and giving them the small things that they need to really feel like we take care of them. So this might mean the exploits that I've mentioned before. It might mean a critical problem such as a crash or a server issue, and it can also mean small content updates. For example, we patched what's it called emotes, which is animations for the players, so the players can wave and sit and dance and do things like that. We've patched more placeable, so people can have pots and pans and chairs and rugs and things to decorate their house with. So small things like this that give the players something to do and show the players progress on the key area of the game. In addition to that, we are creating the new biome in the sense that is a new weather and climate area of the world. We're increasing the playable area and overall content of the game by roughly 40%. This area, instead of being a desert, will be the highlands, so it will be mountain and forest. With that, there will be some new features to support it. There will be new building pieces, so the houses will look different. There will be a cold system, so you will need to wear clothes that protect you against the cold. There will be a whole, it's not just adding a bit more to the map, it's adding more monsters, more NPC factions. It's adding more to the game. It's continuing in our track of our vision for the game. The desert is the first area that we call a biome, but it's not the whole game. And the third, but not least track is optimizing and porting game to Xbox One. This work has started already a bit ago, and it's a very heavy focus with Xbox One being scheduled for Q3. We want to make sure that we have a very solid console port. The console port will be still a game preview, which is Microsoft's way or Microsoft's label for early access. So it will still be a game with limitations and a game that isn't finished and a game that will have some technical problems. We are trying to minimize those as much as possible. But once again, we want to get the early feedback from the early adopters on console to see how should we make this a fantastic console experience. And getting it in game preview means we can get that feedback. Do the controls feel right? How should we change things to make it true to the console, to the console view? How should the UI be? Does this work, or do we need to change it? And that is the reason we're doing game preview, so that we can have that feedback with the players and really make a great console experience. We have limited console experience. We launched the park on console some time ago, but that is of course a very small game. Conan Exiles is a bigger game, so we feel that doing this game preview will greatly boost our own ability to produce a good console title in the future. So as I mentioned before, development is on track for this biome expansion and Xbox One game preview during Q3. We're talking Q3, which is of course July, August, September, but we're looking more at the August-September timeframe. July is a typical vacation month for the Oslo studio, and as it's that studio that is working on this, we are not looking at launching on Xbox or this biome at that time. Full launch, meaning outside of early access or game preview, is still scheduled for Q1 2018. This will include then PlayStation 4, and this will then take the game out of early access. The game will then be done, and then we might have further updates after launch, and those are still to be decided how we will do that, in which form, how do we monetize that, if we monetize that. That is something that we have not reached a conclusion on yet, but the full launch still is scheduled for Q1, and everything seems to indicate that we'll be able to meet that. Secret World Legends, looking ahead, the development is well underway in preparation for the relaunch. An important thing to say is that we expect the majority of players after this relaunch or launch to be newcomers. We're also working to make it worthwhile for as many veterans of Secret World as possible. But we do expect that we will attract a lot of people that have never experienced Secret World before. And this is important to say for many reasons, one of which is that these players that have never seen the Secret World before will naturally have different expectations than the existing or the older players. And that means that when we are looking at the feedback from people, it is very important for us to see if this player has played the Secret World before or not, and react accordingly. As, for example, if it's a new player, he might have trouble understanding some of the initial parts of the game or the tutorial. We want to make sure that that is as smooth as possible. While for an old player, he might not give feedback on that because he played the game before, and even though the game is changed, a lot of it will still feel natural to old players. So it's important to say that a lot of the decisions we make are because we expect a lot of new players to come in, and they might not seem like things that add a lot of value to the existing or old Secret World players, but that is because we feel they will add a lot of value or be very well received by new players. Due to the business model, which is a free-to-play business model, we do expect to need to tweak the monetization mechanisms. I mentioned this before. And due to this business model as well, we will be testing out paid user acquisition, which is the common way to get more players in to play game. You pay for ads, be it in Facebook or Google or Twitter or anywhere, and you need to make sure that your acquisition cost of a player is cheaper than the lifetime value, the total amount of average cash that the player contributes to the game over his playtime through the game. So tweaking that balance of acquisition cost versus one-time value is it will be an ongoing thing the moment we launch, and we will get this to a stage, improve it to a stage that we feel before we really ramp up user acquisition. We want to make sure that the KPIs are at the right level. Then in terms of future games and staffing, not much has changed here when compared to last quarter. We are still planning on working in the pre-production early stage concepting of 2 games at the earliest during the second half of the year. In Funcom Oslo, a new concept using Conan the Barbarian IP, and in Funcom North Carolina, a new concept that will continue being prototyped and discussed after Secret World Legends launches. We're working on additional staffing to increase our capacity. We plan a total personnel count by the end of the year of 120 to 130 versus our current 110. And Lawrence Poe, VP of Digital Products, and the person that was taking the role of executive producer for Conan Exiles will move to Funcom in North Carolina to help strengthen that studio and build it up in conjunction with the rollout of the strategy. So with that said, the slides are done. I will take a moment to look through the questions. So if you have any questions, please email investor@funcom.com, and I'll take a few minutes here now to see what has come in and what I can have time and can reply. Just so you are aware, there's the webcast software we are using has a limit on the number of connected users. We will not be using this webcast software any longer. It already gave us problems last time, but we are recording this presentation and we'll make it available on our website. So the people that haven't been able to join will be able to watch the presentation afterwards. So I have a question here saying, asking me to clarify a sentence regarding a bullet point in the report, which says the bullet point states the relaunch of the Secret World might temporarily have a positive impact on this trend short term, the trend of declining revenues. The company will continue to support the current live games as long as they continue to contribute positively to the company's results. And the question or the email says, could you clarify this? Does that mean you don't believe in the long-term perspective of Secret World Legends, or that you believe the trend could be turned in short term? The answer is that we believe that the trend will be turned in the short term with the Secret World relaunching as Secret World Legends. How long that trend reversal will stay is hard to say. But what we have seen in the past with when we made Anarchy Online free-to-play, and then a few years later we made Age of Conan free-to-play, is that it gave a boost to the revenues for a period of time, and then eventually the revenues start declining again, and they go back to a previous bottom line. But they give a spike, so they reverse the aging of the game revenue-wise by some time, and the more successful the free-to-play transition is, the more time that trend reversal lasts. With the Secret World Legends, or with Secret World Legends, we are doing a bigger effort into this free-to-play transition than we did with Age of Conan and Anarchy Online. So it is our hope that this trend reversal will be longer lasting. But with a free-to-play business model, it is always very uncertain how well it will do. So it is hard to have very clear statements on this. But we are doing it because we believe that it will give a trend reversal in terms of the declining revenues of the MMOs. There is an email asking what is the number of copies sold for Conan Exiles. We do not provide information on number of copies sold outside of extraordinary events. In general, we provide revenue information per segment. That is the only number we provide, and that is what's common in the gaming industry. I'm going through the questions. I have a question here saying, regarding Secret World Legends, since it's free to play, will there be more focus on the IP going forward with other games based on the IP? I don't see the connection between the IP and free to play, but I can say that as part of our strategy, we do want to grow our IPs. That can mean by making more games using the IPs. It can mean by licensing the IPs to third party. We have an active license with Red Thread Games on Dreamfall Chapters, for example. And it can be with just not abandoning our games that are based on those IPs. So with the Secret World IP, we have launched The Park and Hide and Shriek, which are both small games in that IP, and we do hope and are working towards being able to license our IP for more usage, both internal and external. So yes, we do want to make more games based on all our IPs. There's a question here about, can you tell us where you are in the process of hiring new employees and how many employees total the company has today? That's actually mentioned in the presentation. We are around 110 right now, and we hope to be at 120 or 130. One detail that is very important to me is that we do not want to grow too fast. We want to be able to grow at a rate that both matches the revenues, but also at a rate that we can incorporate new employees into a stable working culture. Growing too fast can lead to a change in company culture, and can lead in loss of a very rapid loss of efficiency. So we will hire and recruit at the rate that we are comfortable with. That might mean that we will use outsourcers, contractors in the areas where we need immediate burst capacity, and we do that right now. But we prefer to do that and work with outside experts, and then take our time to find the good people, the great people to work with us directly as employees. There is a question here about the costs and how, if there's going to continue to be a strong focus on keeping costs under control, even though you have started earning lots of dollars. Yes, so I'm personally very cost focused, and like I said, it's related to the recruiting as well. We don't want to just aggressively staff up. We want to keep the costs in line with the revenue and see that the revenue is really there, that the numbers are all there. At the same time, of course, we would be remiss to not invest in the areas that are succeeding. So the cost for this year is expected to increase, as we said, by the number of employees going from at the beginning of the year of around 100 to at the end of the year 120 to 130. But that is still relatively small compared to the increase in revenue that we're seeing this year compared to last year. There is a question here if the first Conan Exile sale on Steam was within, below, or over expectations. We don't comment on this. We don't comment on the performance or individual sales of individual titles. So yeah, we just don't comment on these things. And if you look at other gaming companies, no one does it either. There's a question about what the genre will be for the next game based on the Conan IP. That is not yet decided. We haven't defined yet the full scope. We have ideas. We haven't defined the full scope or budget or timeline of the game. So there are internal ideas, of course. We always have lots of ideas for games, but it's not really settled yet. It will, of course, be in line with the types of games we make. So it's not going to be a Conan racing game, but it will. Once we have it concretely defined, we will review it. There's a question here. Will you be targeting media spreading false information more in the future? We, like everyone else, dislike fake news, but the news are there to report on what they feel is correct. If we see that there's something that is factually wrong, we take steps to inform the media house or whoever that the facts are wrong, and it is up to them to correct information. We can't do more than that. We work with the press to provide the information, and we try to always be very clear on the information we provide through our channels. If there are press outlets that don't reveal information that people like, then people should stop giving those press outlets money. I don't know what to say. It's that's how the media works. The only thing we can do is we can report and put out the news correctly, accurately, and clearly on our website and through our channels. If someone, be it media or not, wishes to spread the information that is not factual, that is not correct, it's within their purview to do so. And any complaints to that, we will refer to them and tell them, point out the correct information. But we won't engage in speculation, and we won't engage in he said, she said. We will just put out the facts and hope that our investors and shareholders trust the information that comes from the company first and foremost. So I have a question here. If there's been any interest, merger, buyout, etc., from other companies post Conan Exile's launch. That's obviously not something I can comment on. The gaming industry is very fluid. There's always we talk to everyone. Everyone talks to everyone. We don't have any plans for any merger buyouts or anything of the sort. That's not our current strategy. Our current strategy is to make great games and leverage our IP and technology to and PR and marketing to do so. That's what we'll continue to do. It doesn't mean that if an amazing opportunity shows up, that we won't consider it. But there is nothing right now that that is of any interest to anyone in this type of possibility. There's always discussions and conversations. That's how any industry works. That doesn't mean that there's anything on the table that is concrete, because if there was, that would of course be public information. Another question is that earnings after taxes are quite high. Is this because of tax advantages? The Funcom also does have some tax loss carry forward, as you can see from the balance sheet, that will apply to that at year end, but that's at year end. So these earning after taxes, as far as I know, and I'm not a financial expert, are not because of tax advantages. That's just the way it is right now. But I can come back to that after discussing with the CFO. The last question I have here, I will of course not comment on, but I'll still say it. Do you think you could be the new Starbreeze in terms of success? I won't comment on it. I think Starbreeze is a great company, and I'm very happy that they came from a position where they weren't doing so well and had a great success with Payday and managed to leverage on that success. But of course, I won't comment or compare Funcom to any other company anywhere. Starbreeze is Starbreeze, Funcom is Funcom. That's how it is. I'll give it a few more seconds to see if any more emails come in. It seems like that was it. So that's it for now. Thank you very much for listening. And as I said, this video or the recording of this will be on our website. And for next quarter, we will have a better platform on which to do this. That doesn't have some silly limit that we thought we had gotten rid of already. Overall, we're very happy with Conan Exiles and with the direction we're taking. We firmly believe in our strategy. We believe we're doing the right thing. We believe that Secret World Legends is a good investment and a good thing for both existing players and new players. And we are looking forward to the future we have ahead of us of making great games. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.